Hey, it's Amadea, I'm back, and today we're gonna learn some tricks about Procreate. It's so exciting. So the reason I wanted to make this video is because when I started out, it was really frustrating, especially to just color what I draw without messiness and weird lines everywhere. So I was looking for a tutorial that would show me really fast and easily just how to use the tools and make it look clean. Here we go! Alright, tip number one. First, what you want to do is you can grab the color wheel and move it around the screen where it's most comfortable for you. Then after that, this is the color wheel that lets you see the colors the most efficiently. So you can pick your base color first and then you adjust the darkness and lightness in the middle here. And what's tricky about this, that sometimes if you want to get pure white or pure green or pure black, it's really hard to find how to grab that. So if you pull this out with your fingers, you can see it on a larger scale. And then after that, if you want pure black for the outlines, you just double tap and then it's gonna snap to the pure black. And then for a pretty outline, you go to inking and pick dry ink and then draw your outline. And then for the best color results, you create a new layer and you pull it under your outline layer. Go to airbrushing, pick a hard airbrush so your edges will be hard. I'm gonna show you in a second why that's so important. Pick a pretty red. You're gonna snap, you then double tap and then it snaps to the perfect red again. And then you outline the inside of the heart. You can be very sloppy, it doesn't matter, because then you're gonna pull your color in and then just drag. So what sometimes happens here, I'm gonna show you. So if you double tap, you can undo everything. If you don't pick the hard airbrush, if you pick, let's see, the same brush you made the texture with, so the dry ink in the inking section, and then outline the color like that in the inside for coloring, then what's gonna happen is when you pull this color in, then see it's gonna have a bunch of little white dots where it can't fill it in. And that is a trick, that if you pull your pencil while it's on the screen to the right, then it's gonna increase the color threshold, or if you pull it down, it's gonna decrease it. So see, it's like you can see the outline, which if you want a flat full color, you don't want that. But even if you pull it all the way here, there are gonna be some little dots left that you have to fill in. So that's why I love using the hard airbrush for the flat colors. And then with that brush, I don't have to adjust on these little dots anymore. And then I can just create a new layer, make it a clipping mask, which means I'm gonna only be able to draw on the base layer that is red already. And then snap to my black. And then for shadows, I'm gonna pick a soft brush so that it's a softer shadow, and then outline the bottom like this for a nice shadow. And then I'm gonna snap to my white and do a highlight right. So that is a little tip too, that the highlights are gonna appear the brightest right on the edge of the shadow. So yeah, just a very simple heart. And then here we go. All right, let's go to my tips on the layer modes. So my tips on the layer modes, we are back with our base colors and the heart. If you want to be able to manipulate your shadows and light, you're gonna make the layer 1, set it to multiply for shadows. I always do this, but you can also turn it off if you don't like how it looks, and make it a clipping mask so it only colors on the red base layer. And then make a new layer for the highlights, make it add. So multiply for shadows, add for lights. Add basically means it's just gonna enhance the color underneath in a lighter version. So make this a clipping mask as well, and you see it's not gonna be a clipping mask on the shadow, it's gonna be a clipping mask on the base layer. And then snap to my white, and then see how the highlight is so much more vibrant on the add layer than the way we did it before, when it was only the shadows and the highlights are directly on the base layer. So my last tip with the layer modes is that it's very useful. If you go to the screen mode and color in your shape and then set it to screen and then lower the opacity, that's gonna give it a warm, a little bit of just this environment. See how the highlight has the little yellow shadow to it, and the whole form just appears a little more that color that you filled it in with. And I just love to apply this sometimes to skin tones or any color that just looks too flat. Just add a little screen layer and make it the color that you want to shine through all what you laid down so far. So that is my tip on layers. Just to recap: multiply for shadows, add for highlights, and then the screen layer for creating an environment for your object. Okay, so the next tip section is actions. So in your actions and adjustments, there are basically 3 things that I love to use. Number 1 is I love to go to canvas and then turn on drawing guide, because then if I do proportions, I can see where they are located. And then if you go to edit drawing guide, you can change this to any kind of way you want. You can adjust here what color you want the lines to be. So I love it on a pink or in a blue. Those are my favorite colors, but you can play with that. Another tip that I love to use is liquify, which basically I'm gonna select all my layers. You just pull left and then you go in here and select liquify, and this is actually my friend's idea. So here I'm gonna go to push and then do a pressure, distortion, and momentum all around the middle value, and then adjust the size. And then based on the adjusted size, I can drag in everything that I already drew and make it look like a prettier shape. So this is very good if you already made your drawing and you feel like there's something weird with it, the eyes are in the wrong place, or it's not like, see, in this case the heart wasn't as full as you wanted it to be. You can just select all the layers you want liquify to apply to and then drag it around, and you can make magic like this in seconds. The third one I wanted to show you is how, if you think that this outline is too, or any kind of line you draw is too sharp, then you can blur it 2 ways. You can use the blur tool, which will just blur it directly on there. But if you want to blur the whole layer, you just go to Gaussian blur here and select your line layer, and got the layer Gaussian blur, and then you're just gonna drag the way you want it to blur, and then it's gonna be less sharp. So this is the difference, and it's a very quick way to blur. Hope you guys liked all my tips. Just to recap: if you open your color wheel and you pull down, you can move it around. If you drag this out, you can make the middle look bigger. If you double tap, you can snap to the true white color or black, pinch back. If you want to add shadows, use the multiply layer. If you want to add highlights, use the add layer. If you want to create an environment, use the screen layer, or just a warm tone of any kind. See, it's yellow. And feel free to use the drawing guide. Just here, you can edit to different types as you want. You can change the color of the grid. You can use liquify to select all the layers. Use liquify to move the object around and make it bigger or smaller as you wish on the push mode. When you color, use the hard airbrush for sharp base colors. When you pull in the color, you can adjust if you hold down the pen and pull it left or right. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. There are so many more things to learn, but these are just things that really helped me out when I was learning Procreate, and I wanted to be more efficient. And yeah, I'll be back with more. Please let me me know in the comments if there is anything more you want to see, and I'm definitely going to include more in my next video, but I just wanted to keep it sweet and short today. So thank you so much for watching. Give me a like and subscribe here, and check out my other video here. Thanks. Bye.